What's up, guys? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon Riddell, and in today's video we're going to be going over one of the strongest and most positionally sound responses for black against the move e4 with the Petrov Defense. It starts off with e5, and after knight f3 attacking the pawn on e5, we're not going to defend it right away, but instead we're going to counter attack white with knight f6 attacking the pawn on e4. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be going over the Petrov Defense and its strategy, theory, principles, variations, etc. But specifically, we're going to be going over the opening repertoire with this opening of Fabiano Caruana, the Italian grandmaster who is currently ranked second in the world, easily one of the best players in the history of chess. And he has used the Petrov Defense to dismantle top-tier competition. So we're going to be going over his opening repertoire, and we're going to be finding his best responses against both the classical variation with knight takes e5, as well as d4 with the Steinitz attack. Let's first take a look at Caruana's repertoire against knight takes e5. Now, against knight takes e5, Caruana doesn't take the pawn on e4, but instead plays the move d6. Now, why wouldn't Caruana just take the knight on e4? I mean, white took our pawn. We'll take white's pawn. We're good. Well, the problem here is now white can play queen e2, attacking the knight on e4. And if a move like knight f6, now knight c6 check can be played. The queen is attacking our king on e8, and this knight is attacking the queen and also attacking the e7 square. So here, guys, we're at move 5, and we're about to lose a queen. So we obviously can't move the knight, but what if we play a move like queen e7? Well, queen e7 is actually the best move here. The idea being, after queen takes e4, we can now play d6, attacking the white knight, and now the white knight can't move because we would take the queen on e4. So after the move d4, we now play d takes e5, but as you guys can see, after d takes e5, here white is clearly up a pawn, and black really has nothing to show for it. So guys, that is why we don't play knight takes e4 right away, because of this queen e2 idea. So we first play the move d6, attacking the knight on e5, as well as potentially activating the bishop on c8. And guys, after the move knight f3, we're now going to take on e4. And here, guys, Fabiano Caruana against the move d4 continues with d5, really camping the knight on e4, guys. This knight on e4 is extremely active, attacking 8 squares, f2, g3, g5 and f6, d6, c5, c3, and d2. I mean, this knight is very active. And after the move, bishop d3, Caruana here doesn't play the most popular move, but the most dangerous move, and the move that has the best track record with bishop d6. Now, some of you are probably wondering, wait, why would we play bishop d6? I mean, now white can just take our knight on e4. We just give up our best piece in the game. Well, guys, white might be tempted to do this, but if white does this, white is actually in pretty big trouble here, as we can now play d takes e4, and if knight d2, we have queen g5 and f5 ideas aggressively attacking the white camp and going after the king on e1. And if a move like knight e5, well, we can now take the knight, play queen takes d1 with check, play a move like bishop g4 check, play knight c6, attacking the pawn on e5. And here, guys, after a move like h3 and bishop h5, black is clearly better in this game, and white has a very uncomfortable position. So white's best option is to not take the knight on e4, as tempting as it may be, because this knight is so active. So the best move here for white is to simply castle kingside. And here Caruana continues in each of his games to simply castle kingside. And after a move like c4, attacking the pawn on d5, plays c6, defending the pawn on d5, which is in turn defending the knight on e4. And guys, after a move like rook e1, putting more pressure on the knight on e4, guys, we're not going to run away. We're not going to run away and play a move like knight f6. We're going to continue to defend that strong knight on e4 with the move bishop f5. And after queen b3, both attacking the pawn on b7 and putting some pressure on that pawn on d5, we're now going to play queen d7. And guys, here in the main line of the classical variation, the classical attack of the Petrov Defense, I think black has to be prepared against the move knight c3. It seems, at least at first sight, when I first saw this, that black was in some pretty serious trouble. The knight on e4 is strong, but it has so many pieces attacking it. The knight on c3, the bishop on d3, the rook on e4, and on top of that, we have a queen on b3 attacking our b7 pawn. But guys, the best move here is to simply play knight takes c3, and after bishop takes f5, take the bishop. And many of you, at least me personally, when I first saw this, I was wondering, wait a second, why can't white just take the pawn on b7? I mean, it seems as if black is in big trouble here as the rook on a8 is about to be taken. Well, guys, now we can play the amazing move, queen d7, and the idea here is that after queen takes a8, we're now able to play knight a4, and as you guys can see, the queen on a8 is trapped. We played knight a4 so that we wouldn't lose our knight, and the queen on a8 was trapped, and it's still trapped. There's no way for white to save the queen. I mean, even after a move like c5, we're just simply going to continue with knight a6, and here, guys, after a move like queen takes f8 check, we're going to take that queen off the board, and as you guys can see, black is clearly winning this game. Now, obviously, guys, in this position, white doesn't have to take the rook on a8. White can play a move like queen takes d7, but even after queen takes d7, guys, I think this position is dead even, as we can take the queen on d7, and after b takes c3, play a move like d takes c4, guys, and I actually like black's position more here. One key idea, let's say white plays a move like g3, one key idea is to put our rooks on this open b file. Here we have rook a b8, and after a move like bishop e3, we now have rook b2. The rook on the 7th or 2nd rank is the most active, attacking the a2 pawn and the f2 pawn. And after a move like rook eb1, we're going to continue to support that rook with rook fb8, and I like black's game here. So guys, that covers the classical variation with knight takes e5. What about the Steinitz attack with d4? Guys, the Steinitz attack has caused many Petrov players trouble in the past, but in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to navigate this opening just like Fabiano Caruana does. And here, guys, he doesn't take the pawn on d4. He doesn't defend it with d6 or play a move like knight c6. Instead, he aggressively takes the pawn on e4, and after d takes e5, plays d5. Guys, it is vital in the Petrov defense to fight for the center of the board. It is a sound positional opening where black really doesn't have many weaknesses, but that's not an excuse to sit back, relax, and let white take over the board. We have to fight for the center of the board here, and by playing d5, we're now again defending that very strong knight on e4. And here, guys, Fabiano Caruana, after the move, knight bd2, continues with taking that knight. And here he just continues, guys, with bishop e7. He then plays the move c5 with potential c4 ideas. So here white usually plays c3, giving the bishop some space to c2 or b1. And now Fabiano Caruana in each of his games here plays knight c6, followed by bishop g4. And after rook e1, queen d7 continues with after h3, playing bishop h5. And guys, here after the move bishop f4, we see queen e6, and black has a very solid game here. I would put the position at dead even. And guys, actually in this position, Fabiano Caruana has yet to lose a game. It's just very hard for white to take advantage of the black camp here. There's no weaknesses, some very strong pawns on d5 and c5, a solid bishop on h5, attacking that knight on f3, a solid bishop on e7, a strong queen on e6 holding it together, and a knight on c6 attacking that e5 pawn. I like black's game here. Now, guys, we briefly went over the Steinitz attack with knight d2, but what about the move bishop d3? Well, guys, actually, Fabiano Caruana, ironically, has never seen this move in a game, so I don't know what he would play here. The only move he's seen is knight bd2 in 3 grandmaster games in which Fabiano Caruana won all 3 in epic fashion. But what about the move bishop d3? Well, guys, I just want to briefly give my recommendation, and that is either the move bishop f5 or knight c5. Now, guys, bishop f5 is a very aggressive move defending the knight on e4, but if you want to play bishop f5, you really do have to know the opening theory. I think the easier way to play is simply playing knight c5, attacking the bishop on d3. And guys, here, white doesn't want to lose the bishop on d3. I mean, if castle kingside, we're going to take the bishop in an instant. This bishop on d3 is very strong. So here, white will usually retreat the bishop with a move like bishop e2. And we're now going to continue with bishop e7. And following castling from white, we're just going to castle kingside. And black has a solid game here. If you'd like to learn 5 fun facts about Fabiano Caruana, click the video to the left. If you'd like to explore more chess opening repertoires, click the playlist to the right. Leave a comment to let me know what other videos you'd like to see covered on this channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.